Alright, so the first step I want you to do here is you're going to come over and you're going to click on this photo 1. That's going to automatically download, and you're going to see it pop up down here on your bottom left. Next thing I want you to do is I want you to go to your digital photography folder in your Google Drive. You're going to right click, add a new folder. You're going to name this Photoshop Chapter 1. You're going to go inside of that folder. You're going to come down here and you're going to primary click, grab, hold, and then drag up and let go. That's going to upload directly into that folder. Now what I want you to do is you're going to go back and click on the photopea.com link. That's going to open this. Now we do not have Photoshop on your computers right now, so for the time being we are going to use photopea.com. It is set up very similar to Photoshop. It's just a browser base, so it is going to be a little bit slower, but we're just going to have to deal with that for the time being. Alright, so a couple of things I want you to notice. Up here is our menu bar. Alright, so anytime anything refers to a menu, that's going to be right there. Right under that, we have our option bar. Alright, and these are options that refer to the tool that you're selected on. The tools are over here. All of these are different tools that you have to use in Photoshop. Alright, so anytime you grab a tool from here, your options up here will shift. Alright, so if you see me grab this, you notice this option bar now has changed. If you grab the next tool, those have changed. So any of these tools, when you're referring to a tool's options or the option bar, that will be up here at the very top. So you have a layer panel, you have your history panel, and you have all of these other panels. Anytime that you hear something referred to a panel, that's going to be over here. These are all your panels. Alright, so the next thing I want you to do is go ahead and File, Open, go into your Google Drive, My Drive, 2020-2021, Digital Photography 1, and then you're going to find the Photoshop Chapter 1. The 01 Start, click on that, and open. Okay, so now you see our rose, which is the flower, and then a ribbon. These are two different layers. Right now you can see one is highlighted, and one has this eyeball visible. Alright, that makes it visible or hides it. So you can see this one here is grayed out. If you select on that, it's going to make it visible. Alright, so if you want to zoom in and out of an image, you're going to see over here the zoom tool. When you hover your mouse over something, it's going to show you what that is. So you can select that. Default is going to be a plus, so you can zoom in. If you hold down Alt key, you're going to see that your mouse turns into a minus. Primary is add, secondary minus. Alright, another way to zoom in and out would be Control plus or Control minus. Alright, so we can see that this image is what? Overexposed or underexposed? It is underexposed. So we're going to come up to the layer panel and the new adjustment layer, and we're going to grab brightness and contrast. All of these adjustments and your layer adjustments are going to be non-destructive, meaning it's not going to edit, damage, or harm the pixels below that layer. We're going to change our brightness to 89 and our contrast to 18. Alright, so this is now above the rose layer, so it's affecting what's below it, which is behind it over here. Alright, so if you come over and you see the grayed out eye of the ribbons, you're going to go ahead and select that, and now you can see that it is visible. Right now it is above the brightness and contrast, so it's in front of. So it's in front of that layer here. So if I were to move that ribbons below it, you're now going to see that it is affected by the brightness and contrast, which is below. Alright, so keep that up top. Now what we want to do is we're going to sample this purplish blue color. So we're going to come over and grab our eyedropper. Alright, so that is going to select wherever you click. Now you're thinking, what is changing? But if you look over here, you're going to see there is two different colors. The foreground color is the one on top. The background color is the one on the bottom. So our foreground color is what is actually changing. It's selecting those tones. So you want to select this bluish tone. Now that you have that color selected, we're going to come down here to where it looks like a new page is turning, like turning the page. So that's a new layer. You'll see this icon quite a bit in many different applications in Photoshop. Anytime it looks like a page turning, that means new. So in this case, we're in our layer panel, going to add a new layer. We're then going to double tap on that text, and we're going to name that Ribbon 2. We're then going to come and grab our marquee tool. This is a rectangular marquee, and we're going to come down to this bottom right corner, click and drag over. Alright, then you let go, and now you'll see the marching ants. We're then going to come grab our paintbrush, which looks like a paintbrush. Click on that, and you're going to see that's kind of a small brush. So what we're going to do is come up to here where it says 15 next to the brush. This is going to be the size, so we're going to take this size up. Then we're going to come down here, and we're going to paint in. So that rectangular marquee is a selection-based tool. We made a selection there and painted inside of that. It's not going to allow you to paint outside of that line though. Now what I want you to do is go ahead and come up to select, deselect, and that deselected that area. We're then going to come up to where you see the lasso select tool. It looks like a little cowboy's lasso. You're going to select that. You're going to right click, and then you're going to go down to where you see the polygonal lasso tool. We're going to zoom in a little bit. Now there's a neat trick. Hold down your space bar and it's going to automatically turn your mouse into a little hand. You can then primary click and drag. Again, that is your mouse, and then primary click and drag around while holding that space bar. Alright, with our polygonal, we're going to start out here in the corner. So one click, come into the center style, click, go out, click, and come back to the top where you started and click. Alright, and then you should see the marching ants like that. If you don't touch right on there, you might have to double click, but you want to get back to that starting point and click, and then you'll see the marching ants like that. Then you're going to hit the delete key. And then you can do the select, deselect. Then hit Control 0. And that's going to fit it back to screen. So now we just created our own ribbon. Now what I want you to do is come over and grab your type tool. Looks like the T. Click on that. I then want you to click and drag, creating a text box. And you're going to write your name. Then I want you to highlight all of those letters. And we're going to make that size larger. And then move it down and center it. So whenever you have your type tool and you go outside of that, you're going to see that little symbol. That is your move tool, which is also the very first tool up here. And it'll allow you to move that around so you can center it. Now I'm going to let you play around with some of the types that are in here. And you can pick any of this type that you would like as your font. So these are all the different fonts that are loaded in here. And you might need to come and resize. So if you go to the little side arrow here, these are all resizing. You can click and drag out, and that will let you resize your type box. All right, the next thing I want you to do is we matched the color for the ribbon. Now we need to match the color for the birthday, and then come up to the check mark to commit. Now we want to match the text with our text up here as far as the color. So up here it has it set up to be black. We're going to click on that, and then it's going to bring up our color picker for our text. So when you move your mouse outside of the color picker, it's going to default to the eyedropper tool we used earlier, and you can select the yellow tone of the happy birthday. Then hit OK. So let's say that you did something and you want to go back. You went too far or you picked the wrong color. If you keep in mind, remember the history panel that I talked about, these will go back in time. All right, but keep in mind, if you make a move after going back in time, so if you clear, go back to this step or go back to this step, anytime you make one step outside of the history, it's going to delete all of this work. So make sure that you are sure that's where you want to go back in time. Go ahead and go to File, Export As, go to More, go down to where you see TIFF, select TIFF, hit Save. Now I want you to go back to your Photoshop Chapter 1. You're going to grab that and drag it up and drop. Then I want you to right click on that, rename it. I want you to rename this Your Name 01 Finish, and then hit OK. Then you're going to go back to Canvas and submit.